Well, hello again to all of you wonderful people across the vast realms of the information superhighway to the 124th edition of the weekly series of Weird Mind Newsroom, where for this week we'll be giving a focus on selection of some new releases, a small handful of trailers, and any odd news story or two. Let's not waste time on these introductions and focus. Let's get talking all things selection of media that we do have for this week.
Yeah, sports, huh?
So we start off the new releases of this week with a focus on the ideas that in this world of ours, one of the biggest and most known entertainment pastimes is in the focus of sports, and we see many big stars and players make a name for themselves in the industry. And while I could not give too much of a damn about this certain hobby, I will say in all sense of things, the only appeal of this is from one of the names involved in this project, and the idea is the level of focus being the best will come with its consequences, as we have the release of the all-new sports-based horror thriller of Him. Now, the film follows a promising young and upcoming football player played by Tyreek Withers, who is invited to train the isolated compound of a dynasty team's aging quarterback. The legendary almost retired quarterback, played by Marlon Wayans, will take his protege on a blood-chilling journey into the inner sanctum of fame, power, and pursuit of excellence at any costs. Now, reception on this film has been unfortunately underwhelming and a bit disappointing. As well praise has been given to its concept narrative and performances, especially with the two main leads, the film gets a little muddled with the overall concept, and the marketing may be a little misleading in the concept of being seen as an all-out horror. It may have some appeal in some form, and if you want to check it out for yourself, then you can touch down into cinemas to do so in that regards. As for the second film release of this week, it's in the focus of the world and the new look at the life and career of a famous face, from past and present, with the ideas of how things may change for better or worse, and the ways they go about to resolve the situation. And in the case of this one, will also come with the focus of a transformation for an iconic name in the industry, in a very different way that we expect to see in a long while. As things are time to get in the ring with The Rock, as we have the focus of a new film of a famous fighter in the form of the Smashing Machine. Now, the film will see The Rock play former wrestler and MMA fighter Mark Kerr, as we experience and see the focus of the peak of his career in the industry. But in the journey of that success, we see him face some personal hardships along the way, and how he would make a recovery in his relationship, his health, and career to make him an iconic name for the industry. Now, reception on this new film has seen some very well received reception and praise the performances, which sees a possible award contender possibility for The Rock, even if some of the narrative elements can feel a little mixed in appeal, but it's an overall triumph. And if you want to check it out for yourself, then you can check this new film, also out now in cinemas. As for our focus TV series in this week, we have the ideas that we have seen many a killer, a psycho in the realm of the media entertainment, from psychos in hotels that wield chainsaws or eat a liver with some fava and nice Chianti. But in the case of this one, we have all seen the focus inspiration by one killer so grisly and twisted in its methods of what he did to his victims, but to wonder if there was ever a reason to why he did so. As we return to the series and focus of killers to bring the darkest one so far, as we have the next season in the series of monsters with the focus of the Ed Gein story. In a new series, will focus on the twisted reality of convicted murderer and suspected serial killer of Ed Gein, played by Charlie Hunnam, back in 1950s rural Wisconsin, who is well known as the killer that turned his victims' organs and skin into twisted furniture. Now, reception on this new season of the show, however, is currently seen as underwhelming, as well, and it's a bit of a 50-50. As while production is shot well and performances are good, the season feels overly disjointed and feels a little messy overall in execution. But I'm sure many may appeal, or some may be turned away from the graphic focus of the season. Unless you're kind of into that stuff, you fucking sick psychopath. And maybe back into the next killer being Lizzie Borden, but if you want to check it out for yourself, then catch this new series out now on Netflix. On to the games, and the one of the big titles of the fall season has been unleashed upon us. Besides the re-release of the goated Mario Galaxy game is also this week on the Switch, as we return to the ancient lands of the far reaches of Asia, to the time of the past and the way of a certain figure and culture, and bring a case if you were betrayed and seen those close to you lives were taken from you, how far will you go for revenge in the name of peace? As we return to the role of the ghost themselves, and a new time setting and character in the focus, as we have the sequel to the acclaimed PlayStation title with Ghost of Yotai. Now, set in Hokkaido, Japan in 1603, 329 years after the events of the original game, you will take control of Atsu, a female warrior who will adopt the persona of the Onryo, or the Ghost, to exact revenge on the Yotai Six, a group of 6 masked outlaws who murdered her family in her childhood, consisting of the snake, Oni, Katsune, spider, dragon, and their leader, Lord Saito. Now, reception on this new title has seen some very positive reception, like the previous entry, with the praise of the story, its breathtaking visuals, and gameplay mechanics, with some critiques aimed at the mixed appeal of the side quests of the title and a little bit of the open world elements, but seen as another solid game of this year, and maybe a game of the year contender. And are you ready for a new journey like this? Then you can play it now on PlayStation 5. And our other game in this week in focus I give some perspective on is return to a popular fantasy series with little title that may have been released a long good while ago, but has over time seen as a return of a classic title with a nice fresh coat of paint, but also with an option to go back to the style of the classic too, as he's released the next title in the remaster remake of Final Fantasy Tactics The Invalis Chronicles. And the game will follow the title of the original PS1 game that will see you control Ramza Beluv, a high-born cadet placed in the middle of a military conflict known as the Lion War, where two opposing nobles factions are converting to the throne of the kingdom. Now, reception of this new remaster remaster seems to be very well received, with praise on a new take on the classic beloved title with new updated graphics, gameplay features, and being a faithful retelling of the iconic entry. Want to try it out for yourself? Then you can play it now on PS4 and 5, Xbox One and Series X and S, Switch 1 and 2, and PC. And besides 2 other games of LEGO Party and Digimon Storytime Stranger, we have one last new release for this week that has been heard around the world. One that's when the announcement was unveiled, the fan base lost their minds, before the engagement announcement of course, and it's time to prepare for more of these tracks from this songstress to be learned off by heart and to dominate the radio and streaming stations, as the billion-dollar artist has returned with her 12th official album, as Taylor Swift has released her new album, Life of a Showgirl. Now this of course will be another big selection of new tracks from the global superstar, including new tracks like the Tile Song with a feature by Sabrina Carpenter, Wishlist, Cancelled, Father Figure, Eldest Daughter, and many more new tracks on this album. And reception on this album has seen some mixed to positive reception, as some have provided praise to the upbeat and playful songwriting, some were a bit more critical towards the lyrical tones and sonic direction of the album, but indicates that music of Swift will not appeal to everyone, or maybe against her for popularity tones or other reason, but to each their own. And if you want to listen to it or listen to it again for yourself, then you can get the new album on CD, vinyl, cassette, or listen to all stream music sites that you know of. And in that regards now, that's all the new releases that we do have for this week.
Do something spooky.
So moving to trailers, and we start with a big animated affair of the end of the year time, where it seems we return to a place where the inhabitants are born to be wild, and where we will return once more to a place full of hair-raising escapades. And in case of the focus to the main duo, it will bring with an all-new hair-raising adventure to solve a new case that could change their society forever, as we received a new and final trailer for the upcoming sequel to the Disney classic of Zootopia. The new film will be set around a week or two after the events of the original movie, and we'll see Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde find themselves on the twisting trail of a mysterious reptile, voiced by Ki-Hoi Kwan, who has arrived in Zootopia and turns the mammal metropolis upside down in the process. To crack the case, Judy and Nick will have to go undercover and test the limit of their partnership to solve this mystery across the vast lands of the city and beyond before everything falls into chaos. Now, with this project in concept in particular, I have made a mention of a few times that I've seen this world and idea as a real prime series delve into so many parts of the world and focus, has such potential for many different stories and elements to be focus of the world into a franchise. And from the bits of footage I've seen so far from this has interested me heavily that I'm very excited to check this one out. And thankfully it is not too long away to go for this, as the film will be releasing into cinemas in just a little over a month's time now, on the 28th of November, or around the Thanksgiving weekend. Now as for our second trailer, this one was initially supposed to be set in the new releases for this week, but for some reason the last minute was pushed to later in the month. But besides that, it's time for a case where a mystery of someone's son's appearance has left you stumped and confused as to what happened. How far will you go to find the truth and get the answers to what really happened? Well, it seems that may be the case for the next project, as we have the release of the second and final trailer for the upcoming new horror project from YouTube creator Chris Struckman, with the trailer for Shelby Oaks. Now the film follows the mystery of the disappearance of a young woman named Riley Brennan, who back in the 2000s hosted a YouTube channel with her friends known as the Paranormal Paranoids. I saw them filming in various haunted locations before things took a grisly and mysterious turn when they investigated the abandoned town of Shelby Oaks, Ohio, that sees Riley's 3 friends found murdered and a tape left behind that shows Riley either being taken or killed by an unidentifiable man. This soon leads to Mia, Riley's younger sister, believing with hope that she's still alive, and a search for her for about 12 years, when she comes across a second tape that contains contents to convince Mia that something sinister is involved with Riley's vanishing. Now it's always interesting to see some of the projects that can come from many creators from the YouTube sphere, and always interesting to see how they get a chance to be made into a full-fledged project, and seeing success from likes of Talk to Me or Bring Her Back, Has Been Hotel, and even Smiling Friends, just to name a few. I know myself, I have one in mind, but I'm not going to delve into it yet. Maybe down the line when I get back to reworking on it in the future. But it seems like this is another strong contender hit in this regards, and even if it's seen in the form of a decently strong reception so far, it'll be well worth a check out. We don't have to wait just a little longer for this regards, but it's releasing into cinemas in the stateside on the 24th of October, and then where I'm from on Halloween on the 31st of October. As for our third trailer for this week, it's a return to the realm of the gothic nature, and seems to be in case I make a mention of this project last week, and it shall appear, as we are once again talking about the man-made monster, but instead of the companion that he desires, we are more talking on the creation itself, from the creepy curiosities of one acclaimed Mexican filmmaker, as you've been given a new trailer for the all-new take on the classic movie monster, with a new look at Del Toro's take on Frankenstein. Now the film will be set in Eastern Europe in the 19th century, and follow Dr. Pretorius, who will be on a mission to track down Frankenstein's monster, played by Jacob Elordi, believed to have died in a fire 40 years ago, in order to continue and honor the experiments that were created by the former Dr. Frankenstein himself, as played by Oscar Isaac. If there was anyone that could really make unique spin and perspective on the classic horrors and new creations of appeal, it would be Del Toro, as the likes of these creature features work wonders for him, and That was proven with his last creature-focused film that won him a Best Director and Best Film Oscar with Shape of Water. It really does seem like he's given a love letter to the iconic novel and tale being told, and I for one am excited to see this outcome. In a moral sense, it's not too far from release as well, as this film will be getting a limited release at the cinemas from the 17th of October before coming alive onto Netflix from the 7th of November. And for our last oh, excuse me.
And as for our last trailer for this week, it's time to return to the underworld of the afterlife, where it may seem like a case that everything may seem so sinister and gloomy, but amongst all the mess and despair, it's a location of hope and possible redemption, even if more nefarious forces decide to make themselves known in the region and morph into their own twisted image. And even the show tunes are quite catchy, as we have provided with the trailer for the long-awaited second season to the popular series of Has-Been Hotel. And the new season will follow on from the end of the first season with a victory over the Angel's Execution Army, where proving itself to be a success for the hotel idea for Charlie and her friends, as the new and improved hotel is packed full of residents. Though it seems to Charlie's dismay that the new guests seek more of revenge instead of redemption, which goes against the plan of the hotel altogether. And this will see the V's, led by Vox, trying to use this as a capitalize on Hell's instability and use the growing tensions with Heaven to use their own advantage, leading to a possible new war on the horizon. So as to say that I am very much surprised and entertained by the original season and pilot from the focus of the review I wrote up and gave a very stylish and well-dressed form here in review you can check out above. And in the case of this series I've appealed and looking past the drama and fandoms, so I enjoyed the series itself, and I've been looking forward to the new season for a while now. And in case that thankfully it's not too far away for the release, as the new season will be making its way onto the Mediocre Video podcast when it makes its vacancy onto Amazon Prime from the 29th of October.
And with that regards now, that's all the new trailers that we do have for this week. So we'll focus on our first news story of the week is with a selection of stories in the realm of film, from the likes of announcements, updates, and opinions on some small selection of products in the works, but let's dive into this and see what we have in focus that we got for this week. Now our first announcement is in the revealing that many assumed this could happen, but it seemed like a bit of a wishful thinking. But that wishful thinking seems to have finally come true, as after nearly 20 years since they first made their debut onto the big screen, it was announced on Monday this week that we are getting a sequel to the Simpsons movie, with the unveiling of a new teaser poster and the confirmation of the film's release date set for July 23rd, 2027, overtaking an unannounced Marvel project. It has been the case for a long time that the series creator Matt Groening has been interested in a sequel to the series and original film, and I guess it was long enough that he finally found a story that was well fit for a feature-length format. Now, the likely case is that this will not be the conclusion of the overall series, as the show is still confirmed to be continuing as of now all the way to the 40th season, which will be around 2028-2029. I feel in some cases it would make more sense of this as a conclusion to the overall series as a second film, and make of the longest running animated series in TV history, but I guess it's not seen as of right now. This could get delayed and past it, but we don't know. At the moment as well, there's no information as what the plot may entail. It could be a case we get the original concept, the first movie where Hank Scorpio was the villain, but I guess we'll see new ideas over time by the next few weeks and by honestly next year, but in this case, once anything does come up about this project, I will provide it in a later episode, of course. The next in focus project has some form of news and release updates, was with a project that was unexpected to get a release and seemed to have turned around for an overall project, but has been confirmed that the planned sequel to The Social Network, now aptly titled The Social Reckoning, has got itself a release date confirmation, with the film set for release in about a year's time on October 9th of next year, which is quite a quick turnaround for a project first announced a couple of weeks ago. There's also been seen a form of confirmation that instead of Jesse Eisenberg returning to play Mark Zuckerberg, he's not returning, but instead will be portrayed by Oscar-nominated actor Jeremy Strong, with some other cast confirmed being Bear star Jeremy Allen White, Oscar-winning actors Mikey Madison, and beloved comedian Bill Burr will also be taking on some roles based on whistleblowers and journalists that delve into the messiness of the Facebook over the last decade. Now, it's an interesting cast list, and I'm sure we'll see the focus of Eisenberg will still fit the role of Zuck if he was still around, but it still looks close to the curator now, but I guess a bit of a change was expected. Now, I'll be a little mixed on this concept, and I'm not sure how this bits would work overall if we needed a sequel to this, but I guess we'll see by the release of October next year if its outcome was a success or a complete failure. The last thing, guys, I want to bring up some discussion that's been dominating much in the media industry and film stars and directors, and that's to do with the focus of a company designed to try and make a full AI actress known as Tilly Norwood, and has been emphasized that many studios have been clamoring to sign them up for use in projects in the future. They'll make it easier for profit and use of casting many projects, and it seems like the case that most consensus with many people in the industry seem to be in agreement that this is dumb, they're not an actress, and brings up the question that what was the point of the entire strikes that happened 2 years ago. Now, I've seen a lot of big name stars, directors, and even SAG-AFTRA itself come out to condemn this ideal, and it's looking like the only people that are defending this creation is the studio that did create Tilly. Now, my own opinion on this is, to me, similar to most others, is that this feels really shady, as those actors and directors made the effort to fight against this being a replacement to them for months, as well as with the writers of many projects. And the fact in the case that I really see the over-reliance AI is just lazy and really not in proper working form still to this day and age, I'm really way off of seeing it properly work. In the case that the reliance of AI is bad for the overall environment, it uses a fuck ton of energy just to make a not fully structured project. Now in the case, I will use it for like just some goofy memes and stuff here and there, but like most of the other random things, but overall use is really non-existent to me. And if people over-rely on it for making content or anything, it's just lazy and appealing to me personally. It kind of turns me off a bit in this regards of like watching content, that aspect. Now it seems the company is still pushing for this actually to be a thing in the industry, but if this happens, I guess we'll kind of see what will come of it. And if anything does come up over time, I guess we'll update in a later episode in that regards. But what do you think of these news stories? Are you excited for a second Simpsons movie? Will you watch the Social Network sequel? And do you see this AI actress actually being a good thing? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. We talk about them there. And our last story of the week is one that I want to briefly talk on. It feels a bit of a mixed but bleak outcome for the company, as well as we're talking a little about the video games and specifically with the company of Electronic Arts, or EA. Now this company has been around for decades at this rate, being the focus of many titles and success over the years, including The Sims, Battlefield, and a multitude of sports-based games a lot all the time as well. The company was also known as being labeled and won many Worst Company of the Year titles and seen as the weakest of studios for a while, though there is now some close competition that has fallen from grace over the last few years for some other gaming studios due to a lot of perspective and the hunger for a lot of wealth and money through many different means. Well, it seems in this case they were one that were not going to turn down this offer, as was announced earlier this week that the company has been purchased for a total of $55 million from two parties, making it one of the largest sales in history and has made the company go more into a private company overall. Now, the buyers are stemming from some collective group from Saudi Arabia, and the other part is with the company that's owned and run by the corrupted Orange Man's son-in-law, giving both of them full control over the media company. Now, this whole thing gives a vibe of spelling a complete and total disaster and a bit of a sinister nature. As I can sense, this will spark a whole wave of just studio closures, retooled products that fit more in the vision of the buyers, a mass level of layoffs, and from what I can tell and hear from reports that they want to use and implement the elements of AI into the project itself, which I know games use some elements of it, but making it all made with AI will not be appealing to a title or games from the studio and end up being a little more janky mess. Now personally, I was not one that played a lot of recent EA titles besides the ones with like the co-op games like Way Out, Takes Two, and eventually Split Fiction, but even I still see this being a very cynical outcome, and overall this will see the studio become more of a mess than it is seen already, and hopefully will either improve or see no malicious outcomes from this, but I guess we'll have to see what will come from this in the future. But if anything, I do hear anything about this now in the future or any of this stuff, I'll try to provide in a later episode if there anything does come about it. But what do you make of these EA acquisitions? Do you see this as a good thing, or will this spell the end of EA as a whole? Let me know what you think of all this down below in the comments, and with all that regards, that's all the news that we do have for this week. And now with all that regards now, that ends episode 124 of Weird My Newsroom, and I hope you enjoyed my ramblings for probably about a 20-minute video this week. Let's delve into some updates in this regard. So we'll start with reviews. I know I keep emphasizing that the Snack Size box sets will be coming out over the last few weeks, but they will be coming out this week in this regards. I have been in case I have some free time for the next week, so I'm going to get a couple of reviews written up. I'm going to get the snack sizes out, and I'm going to drop maybe one or two new ones into the list as well. One I'm adding to the short one, because I don't know if I have the energy to talk for about like 20 minutes or longer on a review, is the movie Fixed. I watched it earlier. Like, it's not overly bad, but there's not really much I can really talk on it like that hasn't already been said. But yeah, those are probably going to come out in the next few days, but look forward to those regards. And the Last of Us reviews are going to come as well, so look for those. Gameplay wise, I'm going to have the DK video up as well in the next day or two, probably around the same time as this video. I know I said last week, but I was just focused, and then this week got to me, put me in a chokehold, all this other stuff. A lot of emotions were spread. That's going to come along as well. I'm going to try and record some more over the next few days and probably go in that regards as well. Things. But then other stuff like Mario Wonder, Star Wars, Silent Hill, all these horror games going to come out. Some games that was already on the back burner are going to come back as well. I'm going to start ventilating, I'm going to start some other games, so look forward to those in this regards. Then after that, in the case, we have some long form stuff to discuss about. So the AI audience choice video is going to come along, the rewatch-a-thon is going to come along, other long form stuff is coming along, as well as a case of Hormone Spore. I have brought one set down to use as the start of the next time-lapse build. I have a shit ton of them to build in that regards, and I think the next list I have one or two that's on the way, so look forward to those in that regards. But in this regards, I'm going to end the episode there for now. So if you like my content and want to see more from me more frequently, then simply like and subscribe. I upload new stuff every single week. I'm aiming for around 500 subs, and hopefully in the case instance I will have more than just Weird Mind for the next few weeks. I apologize, it's been a hectic fucking time schedule for me, and I keep saying I'm gonna have stuff out, and I'm a tired boy and I'm going for a lot of stuff, so bear with me with this, and I apologize for just being Weird Mind all these weeks. But let me know your thoughts on everything that's discussed this week, from like, have you seen any new releases, or what have you seen in theaters or streaming, whatever the case, what have you been playing, leave your thoughts in the trailers as well as the news stories, and I'd love to hear all your thoughts down below. know. I love to have a conversation with everyone. So in this regards, then, yeah, I love to hear all about it, and I'll leave it there for now. So as always, you all stay wonderful people. Have a great day every day, doing many great things, and keeping you because no one else can do what you do, because, you know, it's very important. And take care of yourself, because, you know, mental health is still very important. Check on your loved ones, check on your friends, check on everyone. Make sure they're okay, because you never know what they're needing. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there for now. As always, you all be wonderful people. I'll see you all in the next one. So take care, and I shall see you later.